All right, let's jump right into it. Welcome to our latest explainer. Today, we're breaking down a highly anticipated Day 2 matchup of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We've got a fixture where an entire nation is basically holding its breath, going up against an opponent that is perfectly primed to play spoiler. We are, of course, talking about Canada taking on Bosnia and Herzegovina. This isn't just another game on the schedule, you know? The stakes, the history, and the pressure are just absolutely off the charts here.
The atmosphere at BMO Field in Toronto is going to be nothing short of electric. Seriously, you can almost picture it right now. The roaring crowd, that massive sea of red, the anticipation just bubbling over. But listen, Bosnia and Herzegovina, they are not here to be tourists. They aren't just showing up to snap some photos and enjoy the Canadian scenery. They pose a severe, highly calculated threat to the home side's parade. And honestly, that underlying tension is exactly what makes this matchup so incredibly compelling.
Which brings us to Section 1, the historic home soil clash.
Let's just ground ourselves into the concrete facts really quick. We're looking at Group B. The venue is BMO Field in Toronto, with a 3 p.m. kickoff. And crucially, this is happening on Day 2 of the entire tournament. Now, why does Day 2 matter so much? Well, because the eyes of the world are still completely fresh. The global audience is totally dialed in, and the tone for the entire group stage is getting set right here, on this pitch.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the dramatic contrast between these two squads. On one side, you have Canada. Guys, it has been over 30 years since their last home World Cup match, 3 decades awaiting, and they're bringing what everyone is calling their golden generation to the pitch. We're talking superstars like Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, and Tajon Buchanan. They are finally getting that huge World Cup moment at home. But then, on the flip side, you have Bosnia and Herzegovina, a nation making only their second ever World Cup appearance. So you have this immense pressure of a long-awaited homecoming crashing head-on into the historic hunger of a really rare tournament appearance.
Moving right along to Section 2, the tactical matchup.
There is a massive, undeniable number hanging right over this game, and that number is 8. Both of these teams are walking into this clash riding incredible 8-match unbeaten runs. Literally, neither team knows how to lose right now. They're both riding this absolute crest of momentum, which means something has to give.
The symmetry between these two teams is almost a little spooky, and it perfectly illustrates why this is going to be an absolute battle. Not only do both Canada and Bosnia share that exact same streak of 8 unbeaten matches, but they also share identical coaching styles. Both managers absolutely obsess over defensive structure. They build from the back, they prioritize not conceding above all else, and they drill their players to constantly maintain shape. So this isn't going to be some wide-open, chaotic shootout. It's going to be a really gritty, tactical chess match where a single mistake could decide the whole shebang.
Let's pull out the crystal ball for Section 3, 3 bold predictions.
Okay, prediction number 1. Alphonso Davies scores or creates the opening goal inside the first 30 minutes. Why? Because Davies thrives in the biggest moments imaginable. With that electric Toronto crowd backing him and just carrying the energy, you can totally expect him to fly out of the gates. He's the tip of the spear for this golden generation, and a really rapid breakthrough orchestrated by him is highly, highly probable.
Building off of that, prediction number 2 flips to the opposition. Bosnia's veteran striker Edin Džeko gets at least 1 shot on target. Look, even at his age, Džeko's immense experience just cannot be ignored. He is way too smart and way too clinical to just disappear on a stage this massive. Even against a really tough Canadian defense, Dzeko is exactly the kind of player who will find that one pocket of space to test the goalkeeper.
Bringing it all together, prediction number 3 is a dramatic 2-1 victory for Canada. But according to the analysis, it is definitely not going to be a walk in the park. The expectation is that Canada will largely control the game, but in classic fashion, they'll nearly throw it away late. So brace yourselves for some serious late-game drama.
That brings us to Section 4, World Cup hot takes.
We've got 2 completely distinct schools of thought floating around out there. On one side, Hot Take 1 argues that Canada is criminally underrated. The thinking here is that their unbeaten form, combined with this huge home advantage, could actually push them straight through to the round of 16, and nobody on the global stage is going to see it coming. But on the flip side, Hot Take 2 points out a very real risk, which is bottling under pressure. This take argues that Canada's nerves are a massive double-edged sword. Actually, it suggests that Bosnia's absolute best weapon is the sheer weight of those home expectations. Think about it. If Bosnia manages to score first, that electric Toronto crowd goes completely silent, and Canada might just crumble. It is a fascinating psychological tightrope that both sides are walking.
And finally, Section 5, who takes the points?
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Home soil for the golden generation, massive World Cup stakes, against an opponent playing with absolute freedom and nothing to lose. So who actually takes the 3 points? I really want you to jump into the comments and debate who walks away with the victory. Tell us, do you think Davies strikes early, or is Dzeko going to spoil the party? Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Make sure to like and subscribe, and remember, we're covering every single 2026 match right up until kickoff. Catch you in the next one.